Weekend's results for baseball, softball at Clemson. We're going to talk a little basketball and Bailey's basketball beat. We're going to give a little bit of March Madness tips towards the end, and we're also giving away another fun fans tumbler. So let's get right to it. Our very special interview with Coach Pulcinello. Everybody call you Coach?
Yes.
All right. Welcome to the Fun Fans Podcast. Thank you for taking a few minutes to talk with us. So we'll ask you a few questions, and as long as you give this isn't a trial, but it could be. So we're looking for the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. But tell us how you ended up. Introduce yourself. Well, Bailey, you should do the honors. You introduce.
Yeah, Tori, so why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself and how you ended up at Clemson and in the position you're in right now?
There you go.
Yeah, well, I grew up, both of my parents were coaches, so I was always going to different events. So even from a young age, I was coaching rec teams when I was in high school. In college, I coached some high school teams. So naturally, I was like, I want to get into college coaching. So my first gig straight out of college was at a D2 school in Pennsylvania. And then I was there 1 year and got offered the job at the University of Arizona in Tucson. So that's a big basketball school. They don't compete there. So I went there, got some great experience at the D1 school, big game day atmosphere, and then really missed the competitive side of it. And that was only a co-ed team. I really like having all girl and co-ed opportunities for athletes. So the job at Clemson opened up. I had never been at all. Came for the interview. I knew nobody, like no connections. And it just worked out that I got the position. So really lucky to be here. And that was 10 years ago this October.
Well, the good thing is now you know us. So if you ever need anything else, we have a few connections.
We're right here.
What's your favorite experience at Clemson so far in 10 years?
I have a lot of favorite experiences, some amazing games. I would say the Notre Dame game in the rain is gonna always be something I remember.
Me too.
When our all-girl team won the virtual competition, the COVID year was just such a hardship for us. So that win was just even more sweet because of all of that. But really lucky for all the postseason opportunities. I was not expecting to go to a national championship football game when I took this job. Like, did not see that on the radar. So the fact that happened, awesome experience.
Yeah, and you didn't expand on it, but you won the national championship too.
That's
as a coach. Hey, and I feel like I have a little piece of that somewhere. But all right, so you're one of those folks on game day you see running around. You got your little headset on with your microphone. How many people are on there like bouncing back and forth and coordinating all the things that go on?
All right, so they have on those microphones, there's like different radios, so you can't hear everybody. But the one I'm on, there's marketing people on there, the band. So we're all trying to coordinate with each other for the music. And so doing our best to try to make sure we're not overstepping each other. The person that's with DJ Shay is on there. So there's a lot of elements going down each game on those headsets.
Yeah, and so even as a high school athletic director, I get the bands playing the same time we're playing music over the PA. And so I'm going to get a headset. That's what I'm going to do.
Can I signal in a play? I used to love to signal the slip screen when I was.
No, she's the cheer coach, James. So she's not coordinating the players.
We could hack into the offensive headsets though.
Oh, I should see it. I got to see what channel I can get on to hear what they're talking about.
Yeah, well, or you could just ask all the people around us that helped them coach the whole game. That would be great.
That would be a cool fan experience. If you've ever been to a NASCAR race, most people wear the headsets and you can listen to the people or the radio. And that would be awesome if we could listen to, I don't think they're
going to let us do that.
I get student section. They're coaching a good bit when I'm in front of them.
Well, so are these guys behind us.
Yeah, right, and Bailey? Everybody around us used to coach, evidently.
Yeah,
so that's been a whole nother segment and a whole nother rant on another podcast. Yeah. So you talked about being at the national championship. You talked about the Notre Dame game in the rain, but do you have time to like be a fan, or are you so busy at the events that sometimes you miss really important stuff?
Yeah, I would say like some games people ask me questions or like, did you see that touchdown? And I'm so focused on my team that sometimes I don't even know, or they're like, so and so player. I was like, I don't know who you're talking about. I'm so focused on my team and making sure that we're doing our part at the games that I definitely miss some of the moments. And I remember at the national championship just looking like group of seniors and just trying to like take in the moment of watching them. So yeah, that is more my focus than the game, I would say itself.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what I assumed you would say, because that's what I mean. That's your focus at the games, and and now I'm gonna skip down, James. But so right now, correct me if I'm wrong. You've done football season. You're at towards the end of basketball season, and the girls are going in different directions with that because you split the teams and things like that. And now, what are we getting ready for in April right now?
Yeah, so we are finishing up basketball. Just got back from the women's basketball tournament, finished our last men's game. And so in between getting ready for these games, we've been working on our competition, our nationals routines. So in April, we'll be competing a large co-ed 1A team and an all-girl 1A team, which are pretty much the two hardest divisions at nationals you can be in. So we're really excited to represent on both fronts. And just our game day comes first, and we worked on that, but now it's kind of our time to really focus in on our goals as a team. So we're excited.
Yeah, and I'm wearing my Clemson Cheer Dad shirt right now, and I'm also looking for places to stay in Daytona. So I will see you in April. So
it'll be a fun fan trip. That sounds like a fun fan trip.
Well, I'll get some footage.
There you go.
Take a fan bus down some year.
So yeah, that would be cool. So let's say, hypothetically speaking, I had a daughter that wanted to be a Clemson cheerleader. How do girls and boys get involved with that if they wanted to?
So we have throughout the year some different types of clinics they can come to depending on their age. I would say if they live nearby, attending one of those is a great way for you to learn about our program, see if it's a good fit for you, get on campus, meet some of the current students, because that really helps when people are deciding. Honestly, I'm not the type of school. We are starting to be able to recruit, but I want students who already want to be at Clemson and feel at home at Clemson, because they're just even better representatives and ambassadors for our program. So I really don't go out and try to convince people to come here. I like when people show interest at Clemson already. So any school people are interested in, I would say go take the tour, try to go to a clinic. And we do have information online, just general information about the program, keeping up with that as you get older, closer to that junior, senior age. So you can make a decision that's right for you based on the skills that are required and just making sure it's a place that feels like home.
Well, it certainly feels like home for the two of us on this podcast, because we tend to go back over and over and over and over. And I would love to live there one day and just go to everything. But so cheerleaders, sometimes you have to be ready. They have to be ready all the time because they could be on national television, right? Yeah. So I'm watching Sports Center the other day, and I was just eating lunch, and then all of a sudden, I didn't realize my daughter had been on Bad Beats on Scott Van Pelt's Sports Center like a week before that, and it was linked to the Clemson page on ESPN. And James, can you play that one more time?
Oh, yeah. We can play it over and over again.
Yeah, and I was like, wait a minute. I know that Clemson cheerleader.
We know her.
Yeah. So anyway.
Hey, she looks ready. Sometimes they catch us, but
she's kind of a big deal.
Hey, she's ready. She's always ready. All right, so now we always have a final question for our guests.
And this better be a yes too, by the way, from the cheer coach. Come on.
Can you do the gritty?
Oh my goodness. I could try.
There you go. That's better than no.
A for effort.
Yeah. Some footage in Daytona. The two of you.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
All the parents.
I'll have to practice. All right, because I struggle with that.
hits their routine, I will do the gritty. Absolutely.
And I will get
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, Tori, thank you so much for being on here with us
Yes.
tonight. I know you're busy, but taking a few minutes out just to talk about Clemson Spirit, and we appreciate everything you do. And go Tigers!
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
I'll make sure to tune in. Thank you.
Thank
Awesome.
you.
Go Tigers. Hey, that was pretty cool.
Oh yeah, she's great.
We definitely appreciate her being on the podcast. And now we can get on to the rest of the podcast and talk about some baseball. So, wait a minute. No, we're going to talk about the Murdaugh trial. Alex played college football, so there's a tie-in.
Well, wait a minute. I don't think this is court TV. So we probably don't need to talk about this. Everybody else is talking about it.
We're more than just a sports show, Bailey. All right. And we regularly tie in what happens outside of sports to our show. And, Alex Murdaugh, the convicted murderer, played football.
Don't say where he played. Don't say where he played. We're not going to talk about that. Okay. I don't think we should go there because I don't really think we're going to be those obnoxious Clemson fans that, everybody thinks we are, because we're not.
Okay. This is true. Good point. Okay. So, but we definitely want to give a huge shout out to our sponsors. We are part of the Fanboys, Fangirls Sports Network, podcasting network. If you're a true sports fan, the Fanboys, Fangirls is perfect for you. Find various nationwide podcasts and other sports media at thefanboys.com and all over Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. The Fun Fans Podcast is the official podcast for Clemson fans.
Hold up. I'm going to interrupt you again.
Okay.
But let's go back to the trial for 1 second. Okay.
Okay.
Did they have food trucks outside the courthouse? Like, were people capitalizing on this situation?
So that might be something we can work into the podcast, because not only I heard they had food trucks. I saw some footage outside of the courthouse, and they had tents set up, and there was all kind of people there. It looked like a tailgate, somewhat like a tailgate. And so what we need to do is we need to find out about the Porta-John situation for the Murdaugh trial.
I didn't think about that.
That's what we need to do. So we can plan this. Maybe get a juror. Is that how you pronounce that?
Maybe.
Juror, Murdaugh, Alec. We don't know how to pronounce much except Porta-John.
All right, I interrupted you, but you can scroll to the bottom of thefanboys.com and you can help support our troops. We are supporters of Homes for Our Troops. So you can go to thefanboys.com, scroll to the bottom, and see how you could help us help them build homes and rebuild lives for our troops. James, what else do we love?
Rubens.
That's right. We love Rubens Food, Spirits, and Catering. The best wings around, with 2 locations in the upstate, 1083 Batesville Road in Greer, 11028 Anderson Road in Piedmont. Find them at rubensc.com. Rubens is a great place to eat for all sports fans, including the fun fans.
That's right. And we're giving really, really huge shout outs this evening because we've kind of hit a couple of milestones. We made it to over 500 downloads for our audio podcast, and we actually surpassed that for each of our videos. We started doing video back in January, and we're getting about 750 or more views on our videos each time we post one. So thank you to our listeners. Thank you to the supporters. Thanks to the Fanboys, Fangirls, Rubens, J-Do, Mike Hammett at Diamond Etch Products. And thanks to all the great folks we've had on as guests. And you know what, Bailey? Thanks to me and you. Thanks to us.
Yeah, and we should say, if you're interested in becoming a corporate sponsor for the Fun Fans podcast, contact Jay Diller 7791 on different forms of social media.
Yeah, we can make that happen, Captain, for sure.
Thank you for having me on here. It's a success so far.
So far, so good.
All right, here's the baseball team update.
Oh, wow.
I'm upset. Tigers lose the series, win 1, lose 2. Got hammered this weekend pretty much. But you know what? Things happen. Softball team is 20-1, 3-0 in the ACC after sweeping Syracuse this weekend. Is ranked number 4 in the nation by the ESPN USA Softball Top 25. And guess what? It's not going to get easy because other ACC schools that are ranked, Florida State is number 5, Virginia Tech number 13, and the Dukies are number 14.
Hey, before you get to basketball, though, definitely great job by the softball team. And as a Fun Fans podcast, if you've never been to the Reedy River rivalry, I just wanted to say that on air, by the way. If you've never been to that in Greenville, that is a wonderful event, even though the Tigers didn't win that one. But it's a great event for all the fans. Greenville hosts that downtown, the Greenville Drive, and it's a really fun deal. So next year, I was not able to go this year, unfortunately, but definitely always look to go there. Been there before to that one, and it's a really good time. So that's a fun thing. And I know the Gamecock fans had a good time today, and yesterday, and the Tigers had a great time Friday. But
yeah, it was like up until the 5th or 6th inning yesterday, the Tigers were having a good time, and then all of a sudden the Gamecocks started hitting the ball. But that's all we're talking about that.
Yeah, that's it.
All right, so you ready
Bailey's
for basketball?
Yes, sir.
All right, stay tuned. Right now, the Clemson Tigers are the number 3 seed in the ACC tournament, which starts Thursday. Well, Clemson plays Thursday at 9:30. That game will probably tip off around 10 p.m. I'm going to have to take a little nap before I try to watch that probably. All right, it's Clemson finished the regular season 22-9, 14-6 in the ACC. It's only the 11th time that the team in 112 seasons has won 22 or more games, and there's still games left. 23 wins. If we got to 23 wins, that would only be 9 times in 112. And if we got to 24 plus wins, only 5 times has that happened in 112 years. So who still wants to fire Brad Brownell? 70% winning percentage in the ACC, 14-6. Only 2 times has that been higher, and it was 71%. And that was in 89-90, and then previously in 86-87. Both of those teams were 10-4. So you add 6 more ACC games to the mix since then. And Clemson will play NC State, Notre Dame, or Virginia Tech Thursday at 9:30, but the all-important double bye. All important. And PJ Hall, congratulations. He went over 1,000 career points as a Tiger.
Yeah, he's a player from Dorman, the Cavaliers.
Yes, he is an excellent player. And I don't know if you saw it or not, but before we move on, they interviewed Hunter Tyson after the game last night. I guess the game was over a little bit early, and so they had a little more time to fill in, but they interviewed him about his experience at Clemson, and he just talked about always wanting to play in the ACC, and just being super blessed for having the opportunity and how much he loved Clemson University. And he got choked up talking about it. And so, look, I'm going to get sentimental. That's what it's all about.
That's it.
Let's just be honest. He loves Clemson. We love Clemson. And there's a lot of folks out there just like that. So way to go, Hunter Tyson.
Hey, without a doubt, kind of goes back to what Coach Tori, I'm scared I'm going to mispronounce her last name. I did it right. Yeah. Was talking about bringing the girls and guys in that already plan on going to Clemson. That's a huge part. Like she said, she wants people that already want to be there. And we've interviewed some athletes, and that was kind of what they said as well. You know, they were being recruited for their sport, but they said, you know, they knew it was a place they wanted to be anyway, kind of deal. So that makes a difference when it comes down to the weight room and the workouts and the practices and then the games. You know, you got to want it for a reason. You got to want to do that for a reason beyond yourself. So,
and my daughter wanted to be a Clemson cheerleader since she was old enough to know what it was all about. And those girls that would stop and talk to her as a kid, and when we would go to the games, she does the same thing now because she just pays it back or pays it forward, however you want to look at it. But it means the world to those kids. And you know, those cheerleaders, you know how it is when you're little, the football players, the cheerleaders, everybody involved, they're a big deal.
Yes.
With smaller kids. So
and she
way to go.
Scott Van Pelt show.
That's
ESPN,
right.
Baby. Hey, I'm going to put these brackets back up here one more time for folks that, you know, may just, you know, we're going to support the Tigers through this tournament, but you can look at these brackets and tell what type of a big deal it is to get that double bye. I mean, there are already like 2 rounds advanced from some of the other teams. So whoever they play are going to have their legs are going to be just a little bit more tired, you know, that kind of deal. And they don't have to win 1, 2, 3 to win the championship.
Yeah, and honestly, Virginia Tech's playing better, and Mike Young does such a great job that I think Virginia Tech could be the team that Clemson ends up playing. But because if you play, and Clemson beat Virginia Tech 51-50 at Littlejohn, I was in the building that night, and it was on a last-second three-pointer. And we've already beaten NC State twice handily, and it's very difficult to beat a team 3 times in the same year. But really, the bracket works out if Virginia wins against whoever they play, because I like Clemson matching up with Virginia. At Virginia the other night, Clemson was very close. They make some shots. They're in the game. And if the referees call a few fouls, they're certainly in the game. So I like Clemson's chances to get to the championship game. And you know,
from that point, anything can happen.
It's gravy. Gravy on the mashed potatoes, baby. Icing on the cake.
And the last thing about basketball is there's still a lot of talk about Clemson kind of not just being a bubble team, but maybe being outside the bubble. I'm sorry. I don't see how in the world in the ACC, because we don't have a team in the top 5 maybe or something, but we've got multiple ranked teams. It's definitely a competitive conference. And you finish 3rd in the ACC, and there's no way they don't make the tournament. No way. They might get shafted on a seed maybe or something, but there's no way they don't make the tournament.
Well, I mean, the last update, they were in the first 4 out. So, or the next 4 out. Joe Lunardi, I think one of these days I'll just be an expert at something.
It's something.
Sit around. He does it all year. I mean, that's all he does. That's his job. He's an expert on bracketology.
There you go. We'll declare you're an expert on
all
something.
Their ratings and all that aren't as great because they have some bad losses we've already talked about on here. They have some good wins. So, and it depends. It keeps moving because as Duke plays better, that win against Duke is even better.
Right.
And your net rankings can go up even though you don't beat them.
I think we're in. I think you're an expert, Bailey. You're an expert in my book.
Well, if we're not in, we ought to be in.
You know who else is an expert? J-Do. MC, entrepreneur, entertainer, pep rallies, corporate events, game shows, fundraisers, galas, etc. Just put that man on the mic and let him liven up the party. Not only is J-Do a friend of mine, I have seen him work, and you and your organization will not be disappointed anytime you add J-Do to your function. You can find him at itsjdo.com on all forms of social media at itsjdo. As luck will have it, I will be attending another gala. I keep saying that. Looking forward to it. Can't wait to bring the highlights to the fans. March Madness is coming, Bailey.
Yep.
And Bailey has the research guy, my guy, has the scientific method, the scientifically proven reasons why you should watch. Now, is it reasons why folks should watch the March Madness at work?
It's why you should watch NCAA basketball at work.
At work. Okay. Yeah. That's what I thought.
Which everybody does.
That's right.
Now, all right. So the Purdue School of Management. All right. And I'll leave the professor's name out because I didn't write it down and it was harder to say. If you watch the games at work with your coworkers, and some companies, some corporations, they put it up in comment spaces and encourage you to go work together in common spaces while the game is up on the big screen.
All right. Should.
The Purdue School of Management in their business department says that decreases stress in the workplace. It increases teamwork. And then Ignite80.com, from an article in Psychology Today, a reputable psychology publication.
Read it all the time.
I can't say I do, but I've used it plenty. That says productivity and collaboration increase when employees are connected. March Madness provides an opportunity for employees to connect.
It's all about connection, relationships.
I could go on and on.
Those
are just the highlights. So you need to watch the tournament at work. Tuesday at 2:00. I have no care who wins the first game of the ACC tournament, Georgia Tech and Florida State, but it will be on in my office.
That's right. So with that scientific evidence that we have, we couldn't bring you that type of information without also providing a guide for you how to use it. So we're not just throwing folks out there, not knowing how to follow this scientific evidence.
So if you need a reason,
so
or an excuse.
If you need some tips. So what we have now are the top 5 fun fan suggestions for watching March Madness at work, aka this can be your March Madness survival tips. Number 5, if you got to say you might catch up on paperwork behind closed doors. I mean,
you just say, you put a sign on the door, say working, or or how about just put in a Zoom meeting?
Well, that's later on down.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yes. Okay. Let's get on down
yeah.
there. So number 4, you could volunteer to run the office pool, so you have to keep up with who wins. That's a no-brainer.
That's a good one.
The boss will be all you watch that. So, and especially because everybody's in it. Everybody's in the pool. Schedule meetings with the coworkers who are also just wants to watch the games. This kind of goes back to, this might be the most fitting one to your scientific evidence. This will build camaraderie,
right?
Relieve mental stress, connections in the workplace. Number 3, those meetings with coworkers who just want to watch the games. Number 2 goes back to what Bailey was saying earlier.
Sorry.
Schedule webinars or online trainings. I mean, if there's anything good that's going to come out of COVID, close the door. I'm in an online training. Sorry, it's required by the state or required by the OSHA, or, I'm watching an hour on how to keep trains from derailing. Maybe if you work for, the federal government, maybe, or somebody, but this can get you, in front of your computer so you can watch basketball. But then the number one March Madness survival tip from the fun fans, just take the day off for work remote, right?
Yeah, just stay at home. Hey, look, I won't call them out on here, but I have a coworker who is going to be out of work next Thursday and Friday. So next week, all right, when the tournament starts. All right, it's time for our giveaway, James.
It's time for the giveaway. Thanks to our friends from where?
Diamond Edge Products. These guys have mastered a diamond laser engraving process, and they can put almost any design on any item, such as license plate, yard signs, tumblers, water bottles, and more, for a high-quality, forever-lasting, custom-engraved product. Check out Diamond Edge Products at diamondedgedproducts.com. For inquiries and or orders, email Jalen.
He froze up, Jalen, right in the middle of your
J-A-Y-L for the giveaway.
Yeah, Diamond Edge Products.
Mine's got my name on it.
There we go.
You can get your name on it.
You can't. Well, the free one will come without the name on it. So who won this week's tumbler? The winner is, we randomly selected from our Twitter followers, and this week's winner is the assistant coach from Colorado. The Twitter handle is @assistant_coach1 on Twitter. So congrats, coach. Thank you for your support. I'll be reaching out to you for your shipping address. So how can you win a tumbler or koozie? Next week we'll be giving away a koozie. You just need to follow us on Twitter and or Facebook. Next week we'll be drawing from all of our Facebook followers, so be sure you are following us on Facebook for a chance to win. Or you can simply go to our merch store and buy yours now. The link will be posted when we post our podcast. So awesome. That's pretty cool. Yep. Bailey, that was fun. We heard from the cheer coach, talked some baseball, softball, basketball. We gave away our March Madness survival skills, and we gave away another tumbler. So thanks again for checking us out each and every week. Don't forget to click subscribe on your favorite podcast platform, but YouTube is definitely the easiest place to find our videos at Fun Fans Podcast on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe so you can catch us every time. Spring football is right around the corner, B.
Yep.
We're going to get into some football. The NFL draft is coming. They've had some combine stuff. Maybe we have an opportunity to talk about that, how the former Tigers are doing there. But we're definitely going to have a lot to talk about. I'm still working on that IPTAY president. He's just a busy man. We're going to get him on here.
He is kind of a big deal.
He's probably kind of a big deal.
Yep.
And some other really cool guests, so you do not want to miss the show. So on behalf of the Fun Fans Podcast, J Thriller Entertainment, the Fanboys Fangirls Podcast Network, and Bailey Jackson.
Special thanks to Tori, the Spirit Squad Coordinator and cheer coach, for being on. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Go Tigers.
Go Tigers. Thanks, Tori. Thanks for listening.